What is better or more nauseating than just one Locked On host? Hey, how about two of them? That's right. Hello, everyone. It's Matt Sheehan of Locked On Spartans, and over there, this dapper gentleman to my right, that's Ryan Harings of Locked On Badgers. And you're probably wondering, why on earth are these guys talking to each other? Or you just know that there's a game tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. It's Michigan State. It's number 18 ranked Wisconsin. That's right, just one of two ranked Big Ten teams hosting our Spartans. We're going to break the game down, but before getting to that, Ryan, how are we doing over there, man? We doing okay? Top 20 Wisconsin Badgers. Let's put some stank on that. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Like, not shocking. Whenever you pick Wisconsin to finish 8th, 9th, or 10th in the Big Ten, in basketball, it never works out. It just never works out. It's almost like when you used to pick against the Braves to not win the NL East. Like, they were always going to win the NL East. So
sure,
no, it's been great. But it's a weird season for Wisconsin. I know we're going to get into it, but maybe I'll just get into it right now with this first segment.
Please.
Because we've exceeded expectations by almost any analyst metric, by even a lot of fans' expectations, right? But it has been a roller coaster. Every game has been close. Nothing's been comfortable. Yeah. It's not been a season where a lot of people have been really excited about. It's Tyler Wahl is now hurt. We don't think he's going to play for Michigan State, probably. So, yeah, they've been really solid. They've been very typical Wisconsin. They slow the game down. They don't run a lot of possessions. But nothing has come easy for Wisconsin at this point. So it's not been a smooth ship so far, but it's been a successful one, if that makes sense. It's kind of a weird season.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, are we happy? Like, both of us, like, me as a State fan, we can get to me in a little bit. Who cares about my issues about Michigan State? Are you happy though as a Badger fan? Because just like you said, like, we weren't expected to be in the top 20 here, but well, now here you are. Okay, things should be awesome, but at the same time, oh yeah, okay, great. Tyler Wahl's hurt, might not play Tuesday night, and then you beat Maryland. That's a good win. I mean, I get that Maryland wasn't a true top 15 team, but still, okay, you don't apologize for those wins. Tight wins against Iowa, though, tight win against Minnesota, and then just the loss against Illinois, who's kind of stumbled. So, like, is happy an adjective I could throw out for your emotion right now, Ryan?
I certainly never want to speak for everybody else in the fan base. I would say content. Yeah. Like, there's it's a team. Here's the thing. It's a team that I think lacks a very high ceiling, right? So you go through the grind of a year and you grind out some games. And listen, they almost beat Kansas. They lost by 1 to Kansas in a game where they really should have won that game. They gave up an offensive rebound with a couple seconds left to Kansas that really Kansas used to get into overtime and then win the game. So, it's a team that I would say content, but there's just not a great ceiling there right now. It feels like, and I feel like when you're in the middle of a season, if as a fan base you kind of understand that the ceiling isn't there, it's hard to get super excited about it at all the time, right? But there's a lot there that's still enjoyable. Chucky Hepburn in his sophomore year is shooting incredibly. Connor Esigian, the freshman out of Indiana, has been a incredible spark plug for Wisconsin. So there's things that in every game Wisconsin fans are excited to see. Stephen Crowell, the center, has been coming on lately, but it still feels like a team. You know what it does? It feels like a team without Johnny Davis, right? It feels like
that thing. Yeah, sure.
You don't have that X factor that could potentially push you over the top. So happy. I would say content.
Okay. How's Brad Davidson playing this year, by the way? I haven't watched a lot of Wisconsin basketball, but I assume that he's still there for his 16th year. Is he doing okay for you guys so far?
Yeah, he leads the Big Ten in charges still.
Good, still. Okay, that's good. Good for him.
Listen, Brad went to play overseas. Let me really quick segue. Let me ask you this, because I'm actually very curious to get. We get very insular. I think all fan bases get insular. Like we circle the wagons around our own. We get defensive. I think Michigan State's like that. Every fan base is like that. Yeah. Brad Davidson turned, I always thought the flack he got about taking charges was overblown. Again, I'm a Wisconsin fan, but he was literally just the best at doing that, and a skill that everybody practices, right? Like that shouldn't have been demonized. And I always thought that the crap he got for that was ridiculous when every single team rotates over and tries to fall down and take charges, and he was just better at it.
Correct. He was elite at it. You know what it is? And I'll do cross sport again. And we're going to merge a lot of fan bases here, because as a Lions fan, how many times have I seen Aaron Rodgers do the fake hard count, get the free play, bomb it downfield, and just like, oh my, like, I know it's legal. I know it's part of the game, but it's like this effing guy again. Like, can we just stop it? And we can't stop it, actually. So like, it was kind of like that. We're just like, what are you going to do? Because you can't stop it. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cry about it. I'm going to pout about it because this guy has been doing this for 4 straight years before he finally left Wisconsin. So, yeah, I mean, I get it, though. I mean, it's he made himself a good villain, and I don't even know if he meant to do it along his way in his career at Wisconsin. Oddly enough,
he certainly did. And listen, there were plays too that crossed the line with Davidson, and even staunch Badger fans would point that out. It wasn't just clean, hard basketball all the time with him. But I've always thought, and we have biases, right? We all have biases.
Yeah.
But I've always thought if you play to the rules and you just exploit those rules better than anyone else, well, then change the rules if you don't like it.
Yeah. Clearly, that was the game plan for him. So,
and which by the way, the rules have changed. Like they're enforcing flopping now.
You're flopping. Yeah.
So it has changed, but up until that point, anyway, that's a segue, neither here nor there. Michigan State, you said you're going to get into some of your feelings. 6 in a row,
maybe,
right?
How
are we feeling?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was hoping that you would know how I'm feeling right now because look, the way I would grade the season so far, which I think is a good way to start the conversation, is I would give it a B, and I have to make sure I throw that shrug in there when I say that. It's a B because look, you start the season as a team that's rated outside the top 25, but not by too much. And then, holy crap, you look pretty good against Gonzaga. Probably could have, should have won that game. And then you just straight up beat Kentucky. And Kentucky, this is it. They're legit. They have old talent. Oh my God, they have Oscar Tshiebwe back. They have Cal. They have great freshmen. And then, it ends up Kentucky kind of sucks.
Yeah,
all right, and then we lose a starter in Malik Hall for 8 games. And then Jaden Akins is also gone for, I think it was 5 games. And then you get blown up by 100 points against Notre Dame. And then you lose a bad game Northwestern. But now as your starters have come back, okay, Akins is back, Hall's back, you're looking pretty okay. 6 in a row, just like you said. Just beat Michigan in a rock fight on Saturday. But so all in all, here we are sitting here early in the week. AP Top 25 comes out, and would you look at that? Michigan State is a team outside the top 25, but not by too much. So we're back from where we started, really. But it's just if you take away those first 2 weeks where our expectations were holy crap, what's the easiest way to get to Houston for the Final Four? Is it going to be Greyhound bus? Am I going to drive my car down there? Those were false expectations, and now we are set back to reality. And reality is that we're probably just a decent Big Ten team, which is something I will take. But man, oh man, are we going to get a definitive answer here in the next 5 games for Michigan State? Michigan State's not special with this, by the way. I think every Big Ten team is going to have to deal with this eventually. But next 5 games for Michigan State are 5 games in a row where you have only 2 full days of rest between each game. And you're going to Wisconsin. You're going to Illinois. Hey, home against Purdue. Home against Rutgers. And then, Iowa, which, okay, there's your win. But still, at the end of the day, there are no easy outs in the Big Ten. And Tom Izzo said this not too long ago. He said, this is the deepest the Big Ten has ever been. I did not say the best. I said the deepest. So with that, Ryan, I'll do our 15th cross sport thing right now. Is Big Ten basketball this year just the Big Ten West in the sense that except for Purdue, Purdue is far and beyond the best team, but is this just a magnifying, blown up version of the Big Ten West football season where everyone's just kind of
That's a great analogy. I really like that because again, even with Purdue, right? If you throw them out, but right when you were talking about Izzo saying this was the deepest Big Ten, I immediately went to, but there's not a lot of great teams. In my head, I immediately went to, but every game could be a rock fight here. We've seen Rutgers play well. We've seen, there is Northwestern has some stuff going on. This is a conference where you talked about, in this stretch coming up, Iowa being the game where, okay, that's one we'll probably take, maybe, right? Iowa can get hot.
Of course.
Yeah. It is a very deep conference, a conference outside of Purdue, a lot of teams that really scare you. But Wisconsin just went to Illinois and lost by 10.
Yeah.
And that's an Illinois team that just lost their point guard because he left. They lost by 10. Now Tyler Wahl wasn't playing that game, but again, that's going to happen progressively as the conference plays out as well. Every team drops players. That's the physicality of the Big Ten in general. So you've mentioned starters. You've been down. That's just dealing with basketball. No, I think it's a great analogy. It's a deep conference, but lacking in elite teams outside of Purdue.
And there's one stat too that I just pulled up because I'm a sick person. I look at bracketology every half hour of every single day. Like starting back in November, I'll start looking, and I think this paints the picture perfectly. And this is from Jerry Palm, CBS Sports Bracketology. He has 9 Big Ten teams in the CBS Sports Bracketology, and besides Purdue, no one is higher than a 5 seed. And that 5 seed is Ohio State, who's a fine team, but that's it. Like we're all fine. And just for reference, my Michigan State Spartans, they're an 8 seed, and your Wisconsin Badgers are a 7 seed. And Michigan's not there either right now. I just gotta throw that barb in there really quick. But
listen,
we're 9 teams, but they're all mid. It's yeah.
So we're just gonna say we're right there with you with Michigan. Ever since Juwan Howard threw the punch against Greg Gard last year, and then blame Greg Gard on pressing or on calling timeout. I mean,
how dare he?
Right, the reason to throw hands. Like, get out of here. That's such nonsense. So we're right there with you on Michigan. Let me ask you this, and then we probably get into a break after this, but let me maybe finish this segment here because I've always been interested from the Spartan standpoint. Where does Wisconsin fall in the Big Ten on your rivals ranking?
Yeah,
obviously Michigan, but
right. I think it is Michigan number 1. There's no debate about that, but it is polarizing with Wisconsin. I think just in our own fan base because some are like, yeah, Wisconsin's my number 2 team. Like I absolutely hate them. And while I think that they are, certainly on the upper tier, if not like the second or third, I guess, most respected rivalry, definitely respect or biggest rivalry, we'll call it. Like, I don't hate Wisconsin. Like, I've always long said that I think we're just kind of step siblings, right? Like, you guys are just the Big Ten West version of Michigan State and vice versa for a lot of different reasons. Hey, great partying, first and foremost. Also, just like solid football year in and year out, solid basketball year in and year out. So for me personally, like, yeah, I would say maybe definitely a top 3 rivalry, maybe just behind Illinois. Maybe Purdue gets up there, perhaps Indiana every other year. And now I know I'm going down the list, but I'll just say top 3rd, definitely. But yeah, I respect Wisconsin. I've had nothing but adoration for Wisconsin fans. And I swear I'm not just trying to stroke the ego of you and every listener here. But yeah, that's me. But there are some people that just like for some reason are like, oh, I hate Wisconsin fans. Lighten up, all right? Chill.
No, some of that makes it good too, though. From a Wisconsin standpoint, I think most Wisconsin fans consider Michigan State right at the top of their basketball rivalries. Like, is Minnesota really the rivalry lacks juice for basketball?
That's tough.
Football is its own thing.
Yeah,
but for basketball, I think a lot of Wisconsin fans consider Iowa because of Fran McCaffrey and all the nonsense there. Bohannon likes to throw jabs at Wisconsin. Sure. But it's kind of Iowa and Michigan State, I think, are right at the top of that. So it's interesting. I think a lot of that is born out of the competitiveness of the rivalry over the last 20 years and how solid 2 programs have been.
And like, it doesn't hurt that Bo Ryan was there for 100 years and Izzo's been here for 120 years. And, it didn't seem like there was much drop off from the Bo Ryan to the Greg Gard era too. So that just keeps the rivalry intact. No doubt about that. But yeah, it's been a fun one to watch the last few decades. In my time on this earth. So no doubt about that.
Yeah. All right, coming up, we are going to talk about some more specifics with each team, get into some questions, maybe even make some predictions. But first, today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Built Bar. Matt, listen, we're all trying to look a little more like Matt this new year. And one of my tools to do that is Built Bar, right? And I've talked about it before. We're both dads. Your kid's a little younger. My kid's a little older. This is one of my hidden dad wins. Like I have a cache of Built Bars set aside. They think they're like candy bars, right? So they go into them and I kind of side eye them and they sneak off. And I know they're getting something that's not a candy bar. They're getting their win because they think they're getting one over on the old man. But I know they're getting protein. I know they're not getting a lot of sugar. I know they're getting great flavors. I know they're not getting a ton of useless calories. They're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. They're eating healthy. That's one of my Built Bar wins. What about you, Matt, on the Built Bar front here?
Well, as I'm trying to be a better person overall, just like Ryan here in this next year. That's right. You want to talk New Year's resolutions. Be more like Ryan Harings. Hey, you know what? I want to add some convenience into my life. And you just strike me as a guy that just knows where everything is at every single time. And Built Bar wants to help everyone here with that because, hey, they're not just online here, Ryan. They're not just on built.com. That's right, built.com. But no, they're also at your nearest Walmart as well, your nearest Sam's Club as well. You could just walk into either of those fine establishments, Walmart or Sam's Club, and you could find Built Bars for you, just waiting there, right on the shelf. It has an angelic glow around it, right there for the taking to treat your body well. So bang, there you have it, Ryan. Who's going to land this plane on this ad read? Should I just keep going? Or
I feel like I took off, and I feel like you can bring the bird home.
Okay, here I go. Head to built.com right now or visit your local Walmart or Sam's Club for Built Bars.
Let's go.
Nailed it. Mr. Built Bar is going to be thrilled with that ad read.
That's actually his name too, the CEO of the company.
Yeah, Mr. Built Bar. That's right. That is correct. Yep, great guy. Great guy. Just talked to him the other day.
And listen, when you're done here, make sure you go check out Locked On College Basketball as well. That's what we're talking about today. We had Isaac Shade on the show. Y'all loved him. He's phenomenal. Go check out what he's doing. Locked On College Basketball, available where you get podcasts, YouTube, Odyssey app, like only the Locked On Network can provide. And let's keep going. Let's get into it. I appreciate everybody tuning into both these shows, all the listeners on Matt's side, on my side. Really do appreciate y'all. Matt, let's talk a few more specifics with this game.
Sure.
I want you to kind of put on a coach hat for a second here. How would you attack Michigan State? If you were coaching against them coming into a game, how would you try to exploit the Spartans?
Yeah, in the paint. I mean, it's such an easy and lazy answer, but in the paint is the best way to do it. But I'm interested to see if Wisconsin has the guns to do it. Like, it's one thing to be a Michigan team and have a Hunter Dickinson who's a walking 18.7 rebounds just by rolling out of bed. But Michigan State in the front court, a little wonky. Like, Mady Sissoko was fine. Hard stop at fine, though. And then Jackson Kohler, he's a true freshman, top 60 recruit. He's coming along a little slowly. His defense was never supposed to be elite right off the get-go, and to say that it is not quite elite would be an understatement. He is not as laterally quick as you would hope to be. So, yes, it can get done in the paint for the opponents, and that's kind of how they've made their hay as well, because it is also, on the contrary, if I can talk nice about my team too, got good perimeter defense as well. I mean, AJ Hoggard, big-bodied point guard. He sticks on guys pretty well. Tyson Walker, smaller guy, just 6 feet, but my God, he's got that kung fu hands, man. Like, he's got the quickest hands maybe in the Big Ten. He is just a gnat on defense. And then Jaden Akins, too. I mean, coming off a foot injury, but his defense is as good as you could hope for a guy that is coming off a foot injury to play defense on the wing. And then Malik Hall, too, if you want to throw in our last starter in parentheses. He's come off the bench last few games because he's rehabbing his foot injury, but he could also play wing defense as well as he could play defense in the post as well. So that's it. Get it done inside against Michigan State. And I understand that maybe another good strategy too is to slow the game down to a grinding halt. And you took the words right out of my mouth, I think, in the first 60 seconds of the show. But this looks like just classic Wisconsin basketball, just from every box score I've read, right? Like super slow tempo, top 40 defense in the nation. Like, is that pretty much what we're getting from you guys this game?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, again, Michigan State obviously wants to play a little faster. Wisconsin's going to want to slow it down, limit possessions. Now, it is a little different than last year's iteration. Obviously, Johnny Davis was a star player, but they also shot really poorly overall. Wisconsin was a horrific three-point shooting team last year, generally. How they won a share of the Big Ten Conference shooting like 30% as a team. Historically, it's probably almost never been done, quite frankly. I think they were the worst shooting team in the conference.
So there's another banner for that. That's nice. Like, add another banner next to that. Yeah.
Statistically, that's almost impossible.
It's tough. It's tough.
Winning the conference, the worst shooting team, but it speaks how good Johnny was, right? It speaks how good Davis was. So this year, Hepburn has really stepped up. He's on a tear. Connor Seagen's been shooting well. Stephen Crowell can show some moments. Max Klesmit, the Wofford transfer, has been the starting shooting guard, can shoot. So the team overall shoots much better this year. They play a little inside out. Stephen Crowell, the pivot. You mentioned attacking Michigan State in the paint. Crowell put on 20, 30 pounds of muscle. That might be the key for Wisconsin to win this game. They've been able to get him going a little bit lately, especially the last 2 or 3 games, and he can pick and pop a little bit. He's also the team's probably the best passer, leading them in assists. So it's hard to double him. And now you have shooters that can space out around. It makes it a little more difficult for defenses in a way than last year where you could really just load up on Johnny Davis, right? You're going to tilt everything towards him. This year, you have to be a little more balanced defensively. The issue for Wisconsin is there's no depth. There is just no depth. There's no depth with Tyler Wahl healthy. So now you have Carter Gilmore, who was a former walk-on that's starting. He is really limited offensively, really, really limited offensively. It almost allows the defense to play 4 and 5, and it just clogs up everything. So
shoot.
Yeah, that's the issue. This is what plagued last year's team as well. Wisconsin had a chance to make a run, but Chucky Hepburn got hurt in March, and there's no depth. This year, same thing. There's just no depth. So foul trouble is going to be an absolute killer for Wisconsin. Any type of injury, which again, Tyler Wahl's already down, is going to be a killer for Wisconsin. And then the way that you're going to probably have some success, you mentioned Michigan State's perimeter defense. Hogarth's a monster. I love Hogard, by the way.
Yeah, he's nasty. Yeah.
He's just a heart and soul type of a player,
Yep.
too. And what has given Chucky some problems is last year those elite defenders were guarding Johnny Davis. And now that best perimeter defender is on Chucky Hepburn. And it just makes it a lot harder because he's not a big guard and he's not a really, really athletic guard. So teams have been able to cause some issues for him just by putting better, longer, more disruptive defenders there. And it can cause Wisconsin's offense to really just grind to a complete halt for 6-7 minute stretches.
Gotcha. Like, I thought the shooting stats that I saw too, and you guys were interesting because usually you see the 3-point shooting kind of in the same neighborhood as free throw shooting, but right now you guys are 37.3% from three. That's pretty good. That's 38th in the nation. Kind of good. And then the free throws are 68.3%, which is 265th in the nation. So, like, do you feel comfortable that this is as good of a shooting team, or are you just waiting for like the shoe to drop and being like, this seems a little too good to be true? When are we going to start finding its level here? Or on the contrary, if you're optimistic, it's like, the hell's going on at the free throw line? What's going on?
Weird, right? Like a lot of younger players that are good free throw shooters, you project them out to be good 3-point shooters down the road, right?
Yeah.
Like the shooting translates both ways typically. We're pretty confident at this point that this is a good 3-point shooting team.
Gotcha.
Hepburn has been a good shooter. So Connor Essegian, by the way, you should see the free throw numbers if you take out his free throws because he's only missed one on the year. If you take him out, it's a really bad free throw shooting team. But they are good perimeter shooters. I think some of the players, honestly, they just struggle with the moment at the free throw line. And I mean, I'm not trying to get into the mind of any 21-year-old college kid, but that's the feel of it a little bit. The moments become a little too big in clutch points. There's been some really clutch free throws that Wisconsin has missed, front ends, at the end of the game, where it feels like the moment gets a little big for them.
No doubt about that. Yeah, because like Michigan State too, like they've been solid at the 3-point as well. And to circle back to the question that you asked about 5 minutes ago, another way to beat Michigan State, I guess I shouldn't always think, hey, what can you guys do offensively, but also defensively. Like the perimeter defense for you would probably have to come into play here, no doubt about that, because Michigan State's best lineup, in my opinion, is the small ball lineup that they go with, and that's AJ Hogard, Tyson Walker, Jaden Akins, Malik Hall, Joey Hauser. And with that lineup, I mean, we're talking about 4 guys that shoot at least 37% from 3, with that 5th guy being AJ Hogard, the guy that orchestrates the whole choir. So with that said, like, how is the defense for Wisconsin been on the perimeter? And also the front court too. Let's just take it all. How's the defense?
Yeah, so again, that's where Tyler Wahl being gone really, really hurts Wisconsin. So the perimeter defense is really good. Max Klesman is a terrific defender. Chucky Hepburn is a terrific defender. Jordan Davis, which is Johnny Davis's twin brother, is a very good perimeter defender as well. And then Tyler Wahl is an elite defensive player. So when he's healthy, 1 through 4, they're switching everything, and they just gum up all sorts of actions: pick and roll, slip screen, dribble handoffs, DHOs. They really just switch it all and make it incredibly hard for a lot of actions. And then Tyler Wahl is just, like I said, a terrific defender that can probably guard outside of like the dominant big men. He can guard 1 through 5. You're not going to put him on an ED, obviously, but he can guard really. But again, taking him out of that mix, it has just a domino effect of now not only is your defensive leader, your best defensive rebounder out of there, but someone else is in that role filling 30 minutes worth of defense, right? And then someone else behind him is not having to fill in for 10 more extra minutes of defense. It creates a lot of issues. So I think that small ball line is probably going to give issues. I think Hauser is probably going to get open for some shots. How has he played this year? He's a guy that isn't really loved in Wisconsin, to say the least.
Understandable. And there's at times last year where he wasn't necessarily loved in East Lansing because he was really down to start last year. And I mean, like, holy crap, is he unplayable down last year? But he ended the season on a pretty good note. And we're thinking like, oh my God, this is great. He's coming back. He ended on such a high note, but we've also seen his lows. But so far, we've seen a lot of his highs. This year, I got the stats right in front of me: 13.3 points, 7.8 rebounds, which is a very underrated stat for him. And he's popping the 3-point ball at 40.3%. So he's been great. Now, his last game against Michigan, not good at all. I think he was like 3 of 13 shooting. I think he had 2 air balls. Just didn't look good, but we're going to give him the pass because he's been so good in every other game that, okay, you get that. And also, too, 3 of 13 shooting. 10 rebounds, though, so he's still getting work done on the other end and on the glass. So I'm sorry, Wisconsin fans. He's doing pretty good for us this year.
Okay.
Please give him a warm welcome at the Kohl Center, though. Please make him not nervous or sad or anything. Just really, if you could clap for him, that'd be great because need a big bounce back game here from Joey Hauser.
They're going to do something for him. I'll tell you that.
Okay, that's good. All right, good. That sounds promising. That sounds endearing. Good.
You want to talk some football? Should we? Or let's do predictions. What do you think for the game? Let's get some predictions down here.
Lord knows, and a lot of our listeners know that I'm very apprehensive to pick Michigan State, especially in a road game. But I'm gonna do what I think. I swear I'm not being a homer right now and wearing green tinted sunglasses. But I think Michigan State 61, Wisconsin 58. Just like another nasty first team to 60 kind of game in Michigan State versus Wisconsin. When does that ever happen, right? But that's what I've got. How about you? That Tyler Wahl injury is just too big for me to.
No, I agree. Actually, and maybe the green background of our crossover here is tinting this, right? We should get like a green and red one. But no, I agree. I don't. It's just so hard for Wisconsin, already struggling mightily with depth, to lose Tyler Wahl. And then to beat a Spartan team that's, quite frankly, they didn't even shoot well against Michigan, and they won that game. It wasn't just Hauser, right? Like the whole team did.
It was everyone. Yeah.
So they have a lot of momentum. Wisconsin's coming off a 10-point loss where they looked a little disjointed. And again, especially defensively without Tyler Wahl. So I listen, it's going to be a game. It's good when those games come down to the end. Do you hit a shot? Do you make the back end of a free throw? It's those type of things. But I think I would take the Spartans to pull this one out as well.
There we go. God, hope you're right. Hope I'm right. And that's weird because usually I say hope I'm wrong because I pick against Michigan State, but no, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I don't know why. 7 in a row. Make it happen, boys. I don't know how you have to do it, but just go for it, please.
Yeah,
I beg you. Speaking of not doing it, heard you wanted to talk football there, Ryan. You want to hear about a season in East Lansing that ended just great after we played your Badgers.
So we actually haven't. The thing is, this is our second crossover for those who maybe didn't see the first one. We haven't talked since since the Wisconsin-Michigan State football game. We talked before that. Obviously, a high point for Michigan State in that season.
It was great.
It was great. Since then, Wisconsin has dramatically shifted courses, right? Luke Fickell's in. There's like 17 4-star quarterbacks he's landed. It's been awesome. But where are you guys at? Because you had the first Mel Tucker year, right? And it was amazing. The money flowing in, the contract renewed, recruiting going incredibly well, right?
Yep.
Coming into this year, recruiting still going really well, but then the season fell off the tracks. At least as for expectations, it didn't meet expectations for sure.
Totally.
Where are you guys at in East Lansing with football right now?
Oh, we're in basketball season. That's just where we're at right now. No, I think what happened to kind of regulate everything and make people not light couches on fire in the streets is signing day. I mean, look, there wasn't a lot to look forward to when the final whistle blew in Happy Valley to end Michigan State's season. But hey, that December date of signing day was the last thing we had to hold on hope for because, well, that's why Mel Tucker's here to recruit. And he did a pretty good job. He did, I think it was 8 4-stars. It might have been 9 4-stars, and that's more than you've seen coming to Michigan State in a single class ever. Right now, I think it's a top 30 class, just on the fringe of top 25. And while that's not going to win you a natty in 3 years, that's still incredible damage control after a 5-7 season. So that's where we're at right now. It's going to be a big season coming up. No doubt about that. I think everyone's kind of just a little more panicked than they want to let on to believe of how big this upcoming season is. Because if you dole out a 5-7 season or a 6-6 season this year, then it's like, were we sure about that contract? I don't know about that, but hey, look, the excuses are out the window now. You can't say that, his guys are still young. He hasn't gotten all the guys next year. Now his guys will be of age. He does have all this coaching staff, which he didn't fire anyone from the coaching staff after the 5-7 season. So that's not even anything you can rely on anymore. So it's put up or shut up time next year. So collectively, I think it's a DEFCON 3 situation in East Lansing. We're not at 2, we're not at 1, we're not ready to send the missiles to his house, but certainly a little more on edge right now than we were after the Peach Bowl year. No doubt about that. But yeah, recruiting has kind of helped things along the way. And also, hey, some big transfer portal additions too, which Mel Tucker's just been good at the last few years. So sure. That's what's going on. And sunny East Lansing, as you guys are off winning your bowl games and everything like that.
Well, listen, the guaranteed rate bowl is hardly a bowl. Yeah, we were listening. It was nice. It was nice. It's nice to
It ends in the word bull, so like, how bad can it be?
It's
It's
fair.
something. Yeah,
It's nice to cap the season with a win, but it's Wisconsin won 7 games. It's not like there's a large tier between our seasons here. I think just the difference is Luke Fickell coming in has energized the fan base. It probably similar to when Tucker came in initially,
yeah,
right? To energize Michigan State. Like it probably
yeah.
felt like he had a jolt of enthusiasm.
100%, and especially when he's just billed as this big recruiter, which is something that we haven't really had at Michigan State. Like, look, I say this every time I bring him up. I love Mark Antonio like a family member. He has done wonders to my life. Not a big recruiter though. Kind of wondering like, how did you not parlay your success from 2013 to 2015 into something more? But I digress. So we got the new flashy recruiter in town, so that gave us a lot of energy. And it, you know what is fascinating too is like we were long thought to have Luke Fickell in our clutches too during that coaching cycle, and we were thinking, great, this is awesome. So now he goes to Wisconsin. What was that even on your guys' radar? Or was that a surprise for you guys when you either woke up and saw the news or saw the news across your time? I forgot when that news broke, but when that happened, that kind of threw you off guard.
Yes, it was
Okay.
Jim Leonard. Like it was. No, I was firmly in the camp of wait till the offseason. I think Wisconsin's a big job. Like being in the Big
Yeah.
Ten is a big job, right? Being if you're an upper tier Big Ten football school, it's a big job in college football
Hmm.
now. So I thought you could lure somebody in. I was in favor of waiting to see you could get, but Fickle was never on the radar. Listen, there's a couple seminal moments in my life, right, where I'm always going to remember where I was, like where my kid was born, where I first
Sure.
dunked basketball. That was in Rice Lake.
That's a flex.
Yep.
That's a flex. Let's go.
Loki, when I dunked, I like took off my shoe and I wrote the date and time on my shoe in a Sharpie. It was incredible. So
Of
not in
course.
the
Yeah.
game, not in the game, but anyway. And like the third moment is like when Luke Fickell became on the radar. Like those are
Yeah.
like 3 seminal moments in my life because it was like an alteration of Wisconsin football. And no, he wasn't on the radar. We are stoked. And to your point, you were talking about. I asked you, where are you at in East Lansing right now, football? And you said it's basketball season. Wisconsin
Yeah.
fans are like the opposite. We are like every recruit coming in, every transfer, 4-star quarterback, like
Yeah.
basketball to me, and I love basketball. Badger fans love basketball, but
Mhm.
basketball almost, honest to goodness, feels like a backstory right now to Luke Fickell building out this
Wow.
recruiting class, this cycle. I get so much more interest, so many more questions. There's so many more messages about who are we getting next in the portal than how does Tyler Wahl impact us?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Wow.
The energy is incredible right now on the football side. And speaking of that, really quick, let me pick your brain.
Yeah.
Wisconsin did pull Michigan State transfer defensive end, outside linebacker, edge defender, Jeff
Yep.
Petrowski.
Petrowski. Close enough. That's better than a lot of people can do. Yeah. Yeah.
What can you tell us just kind of quickly? I don't think that's a guy who moves the needle a ton, but he feels like a solid pickup.
I think it's 100% a solid pickup. I was a big fan of Jeff Petrowski. Now, of course, he has his limitations, right? It's not like you're getting the reincarnate of J.J. Watt up in Wisconsin. Like, he is a smaller guy. I think he's like a 6'1", 6'2" kind of edge rusher. But in 2021, 2 years ago, when Michigan State had this great season, he was a decent part of that. I mean, he had 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, came on really well, and then this year just played in 3 games because of injury. So really didn't have anything to do this year. And he transferred, I think, because Michigan State's defensive end room is getting a little crowded. Could he have come back as a starter next year? Maybe, if not a starter, the first guy off the bench to get in there and get some reps. So, yeah, I absolutely was bummed to hear that Jeff Petrowski was leaving, but a lot of guys that leave Michigan State don't land at Power 5 schools. So it was nice to see, him land at a solid school like Wisconsin. And also, great that we don't have to see him next year because I would hate for the Jeff Petrowski revenge game to unfold either in Madison or East Lansing. So yeah, you guys got a good one, and I don't mean that disingenuously. I'm bummed to see him go, but hey, good on you, Jeff.
Love it.
There we
Anything
go.
else? We've kept the good folks for about 35 minutes here, 34 minutes. That's pretty good.
That's a hostage situation at that point when you cross the 30-minute mark. Wow. How many interceptions for Samar Melvin at Michigan State next year? Is it over or under 10.5? What do you think? What do you got for us?
Like it's probably just under. Now, listen,
Just
Samar
under.
Melvin,
Okay.
was a guy actually who came in with some hype. We're talking
Okay.
about transfers here. He's kind of a long-armed cornerback. He played early for Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard saw something in him, which is always kind of something to put a thumbtack in and kind of keep in the back of your brain. Like Jim Leonard knows defensive backs. Jim Leonard knows defenses, and that's a guy that he zeroed in on. It wasn't a plan B target. Played early for Wisconsin, and then he just kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Wisconsin brought in a bunch of transfers with experience to play. I think he's got some juice to him. I just don't feel like he ever found solid footing. He's not a really big corner, so you kind of have to find the right scheme or fit to put him in. But he was definitely a player Wisconsin fans were excited about, and somebody that Jim Leonard was excited to get. So it'll be interesting to see. We don't really know with him.
It's good enough for me, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. We can take any secondary player with juice, and I'll be like, yeah, all right, nice, sweet. Look at us. So there we go.
Jalen Franklin, right?
Jalen Franklin. That's right. The next Travis Kelce up in East Lansing. Let's go. We just snatched him from Madison. Woo! Look at us go.
He's a weird one, man. He's a guy that is athletic, and if you ask any Wisconsin fan that's really in the weeds, they wish they would have left him at outside linebacker. He went to tight end after his freshman year and then just disappeared off the face of the earth for like 4 years.
Gotcha.
And
sabbatical.
then popped up this year, caught like one pass, and there's you always know who the sickos are, right? The sickos in the and know like every single player on the roster, where they're from, right? So he catches this pass in this game, and there's this like small contingent of crazy Badger fans like Franklin lives, and 90% of the fan base is like, who is this dude?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
he's been gone for 4 years, but yeah, I have no clue with him, man. I have no clue.
We took in about 8 transfer tight ends, so I don't know. Like maybe we're just trying to build a megaplex of tight ends here, or just getting big bodies to help with our construction going on at our new football facility. I don't know. That could be it as well. Who's to say? We'll find out. So
that's it, man.
There you go. And that's it for the show, I think. We did a good job. God bless anyone that's still listening. I hope everything's okay over there.
Just really quick, behind the curtains, as we say we're going to stop and we just keep talking. But last thing for me. One of the things Locked On, just going behind the curtains, they kind of want us to focus on, hey, percentage of like the amount of show people watch, right?
Yeah.
They watch 20% of your show, 30%, 40%. We're not. I feel like this show, people have dropped off at this point. And
100%.
Yeah, it's not going to look great.
Oh, we lost 95% of listenership when we brought up Brad Davidson. We shed a lot there. But here we are. Yeah, I'm really hoping Mr. Locked On is not listening to this episode, because we'll be getting not a stern text, but a friendly text. Be like, hey, whatever happened in 25, 30 minutes? what happened to what works? And now here I am just saying this in minute number 37.
So long, gentlemen. All right, well, we're rambling at this point. We're going to call it. Fun game, though, coming up. We're definitely going to talk about it. Thank you for listening on Matt's side, on my side, Spartan fans, Badger fans. Really do appreciate it. On Wisconsin, and whatever you guys say.
Go green. That's right. We like to call out our colors. That's right. Let's go.
Let's go.
Until next time. Let's go.